already mentioned this before. Uh, in Sherwood Park, Alberta, Brandon Jacobs, Jack Lee Heather Glazer, and Chelsea Smith have now tried to use narc abuse against me. Joan Wisborg has also. Joan Wisborg identifies as a narcissist. While this was happening, I was literally having spiritual warfare from a narcissist that lives in Souk, BC. Her name is Elise Renouf. I might post a picture, a new one of her. They actually went and so Chelsea Smith and her friends got a fake obituary done up about an ex of mine that was a narcissist. Okay, I literally did that, and they literally tried to get me to reconnect to two of them that abused me, and yeah, they tried to do that, and Joan Wisborg was trying to do that too. So there was, I don't know if I'll name them or if I post their picture. I don't know if I will. But the thing is, I do feel like me going and posting some of those, Chelsea Smith and her friends wanted to use that in some way against me. So I'll see how I might do that, if I want to do anything with that. But I want people to know that they actually were trying to use that abuse against me. So I literally went through, I had soul loss from one of them. And then I literally I came back from a head tick in the past couple of years, past 4 years, because of another one who was doing spiritual warfare at me. My dad tried to commit suicide twice. I walked in on because of the one in Souk, BC, and her friend downtown Victoria. So the one is Elise Renouf. The other one's name is Kentucky, and then they have a friend named, or she has a friend named Lindsay in Ontario. I believe it's either London or Woodstock, that took part in it. And Amber Colbert and Joan Wisberg also hopped in and took part in some of the group attacking. Yeah, but the main stuff was those other three, and then Jillian hopped in at the end and pushed stuff at me. But yeah, I came back. So I found out Jillian identifies as a narcissist. Found that out, and so now that's four narcissists. That's four. The first one I is yeah. First one actually she tried to contact my family the past couple of years. I sent her an article and it said I said take a good look at it. This is who you are, and it was talking about narc abuse. And I felt she started crying, and I felt her brother agreed. I felt it psychically, and I dated her for like a couple of years. But the second one, I'll see if I get into this, but now here's the other thing though. There's people that took part in the narc abuse, okay? So if anyone helped any narcissist to cause any harm towards me, then they've taken part in narc abuse. So that means a guy named Kentucky, downtown Victoria, that used to work at South Point, has taken part in narc abuse. I've already described who that guy is. He did directly take part in that. So now he's taking part in narc abuse. So has Lindsay in Ontario. They directly took part in abuse that hurt towards me and my family, and what ended up happening. Joan Wisborg identifies as a narcissist, so her friend Monica, that is the manager of Goodness Me in Hamilton, Ontario, has directly taken part in narc abuse, and so with Tarek Beebe. And if Amber Colbert has worked with her at all, anything against me, that means she's taking part in narc abuse. Anyone else that would have helped her to pull any harm towards me has taken part in narc abuse. Anyone that helps Elise Renouf at Souk, BC against me in any way to cause harm is taking part in narc abuse. Yeah. Yeah. So when Chelsea Smith and those friends of hers tried to go and pull that towards me, that means they're taking part in narc abuse. They tried to use that towards me. They tried to reconnect me. They tried to do that. Yeah. They were trying to push that at me. Yeah. So if I see somebody literally willing to do that level of harm at me, I'm going to tell everyone who they really are. I'm going to make sure everyone knows that. So what else? So out of Souk, yeah. So if anyone has helped any of those people, so the first one I might name off. I don't know if I'll do names. Yeah. This is the thing. If I post about it, I feel like some of them are going to, like the ones in Chelsea Smith and Friends, might try to use that at me, which is nuts. They already literally they already literally have a fake obituary up about the one that I had the soul loss from. Yeah. Can you imagine that? Someone trying to do spiritual warfare at you, and they try to get hold of someone that abused you to the point you had soul loss, and then pulled that at you, but then they're out there pretending like they're yoga instructors and all this sort of stuff when it's all fake. It's all fake. That group is completely fake. So I got to see how I want to do this, because anyone that has any sort of narc abuse the past 4 years that involves spiritual warfare, any of that sort of stuff, I want people to know who did it, and I want people to know what I dealt with. So even as I'm saying that, this is coming from Super C. Get rid of it, guy. Yeah. I want people to know just the level of who some of these people are, of the stuff they pulled. At some point I want people to understand the level. Yeah, they need to know. Like, I mean, the level. I've already described some of it. What a narcissist is actually like. The one Suk has already lied about being raped by someone in her past, so she was willing to literally lie about being raped to hurt a guy. Yep. Yeah. Offered her son up to be raped 4 times, do me, and I was horrified. I woke up in the middle of the night, her trying to connect to my back sexually, and was trying to talk to me sexually about her son. This happened all psychically. And I very clearly was hearing a voice and was, oh, as long as you're gentle with him, and tried to talk sexy about her son to me 4 times. And I hopped on my bed so fucking angry, and tried to directly turn me on. And she was already turned on, like noticeably already turned on, and tried to push that. That's some of the stuff. There's a lot more. There's quite a bit more. I talked to the police about her on Vancouver. I already did. And if I would have pressed charges, if it wasn't for what had happened with my dad at the time. It was right around the time that he had tried to kill himself. And I remember I had called the police. She actually, right after, when I found my dad in the garage, his head was in my lap, and she projected her voice here and said, "Karma's a bitch," to me. Her friend, downtown Victoria, Kentucky, was trying to go and press at my dad, was trying to do that on the astral plane while he was in the garage. I picked up on this later on. I saw it very clearly on the astral. He was trying to like push at my dad. And my dad, at the time, ended up going down to like 4 hours sleep a night. I had spiritual warfare at me. I had what I went through, then that sort of stuff. Went through that. And then they pulled that towards my dad. My mom had her heart checked at the hospital. I walked in both times on my dad after I had the trauma that I went through. Literally, we're doing, oh yeah, all the stuff I listed this off in a different YouTube. Anyone involved in this universe source, I want them to be completely seen for what they did. Everyone is going to know that is exactly the level of taking part in any of that towards me is going to be fully seen for that. Yeah, I'm not going to allow any of that in my life. So there's that. And then on top of that, out of the US, there was people that tried to use narc abuse to harm me. And I don't mean actually doing narc abuse. Gabby Bernstein, Mary Forleo, Steve Hardison have actually gone and used names of one of the people that took part in the narc abuse, who the guy's attempted rapist, it turns out, lives downtown Victoria. His name's Kentucky. Used to work at Sig Point, and they threw that in on a bunch of social media at me. They threw that name in. They threw in different references to stuff. They even tried to make it look like jokes. And the whole time it was trying to cause a lot of fucking harm. That's what the intent was. The intent was harm. They knew I'd been abused. They knew I came back from a head tick. My dad tried to kill himself. All this sort of stuff. And there they were, still throwing that in. That's who they actually are. Can you imagine? Yeah. So if I do decide to do this, and I really decide to do it, people who've been abused by, I don't know if I'll go into that, but anyone who's been abused by narcissists, and I could contact other people I know, there's a decent amount, okay, understands the level of harm that a narc does, all that sort of stuff. If they knew that, and they knew that's who those people are, that's who Gabby Bernstein really is, who Mary Forleo really is, who Steve Hardison really is, that might be interesting. That might be interesting if people knew that. So I want people to know that they did that. Anyone involved in that, also involved in any of that towards me, had the posts made, any of that sort of stuff, they'll be fully seen for who they are. Universe Source, make sure that it's known they did that towards me. Yeah, they were on there laughing with the training, and they were using those names out there. They had, I think they even had, they had different people make different posts and stuff. The whole time trying to harm, going, oh, you're abused by a narc. I said on a different video, it would be like me going, Gabby Bernstein was molested by her dad? Oh, what's her dad's name? Oh, let me go and throw this online at her. Steve Hardison had his ear bitten off, a chunk of it by his cousin. What's that cousin's name? Let me use that against him. That was pretty bad. He went through that. Let me use that against him. Let me like joke about it though, and I'll throw his name in there. I'm sure he won't mind. Not even, yeah. Oh, that would be like insane, like level to pull at someone, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would. It would. And that's what they're doing. That's who they are. And they had other people use the names too. You know what they did? You know what those fucking pieces of shit in New York did? They had Ryan Reynolds go on National Geographic, so he got in with them, and he wrote in, it was written on the web post, sorry, not sorry. That is what was said to me by the one narc that I had soul lost from. Okay? They had him put that on there. Under National Geographic, I'm a fine art nature photographer. Ryan Reynolds, Canadian. Okay? Knew I liked Deadpool. They looked up this stuff. Okay, there's two. And then they threw in the line. There's multiple things, like 3 or 4 things thrown in as a shot at me around narcissistic abuse. Yeah. Yeah. So, and literally, yeah. So, anyone that has, I just want people, I want people to see who these people really are. Universe Source, make sure they get seen for all the harm they did towards me, what they're doing with it. It is disgusting that someone has gone through narcissistic abuse after the fact would get abused by people because they've been abused and then it used against them and thrown at them. That's absolutely fucking disgusting. It's disgusting. It shows who they really are. And they're honestly, I said toxic piece of shit. There's a reason I said that. Would I normally say that? No, there's a reason I said that because that's who they are. That's who they really are. And that's what I've seen. They built a lot of fake images. No. And this is, I have a screenshot of at least one of the things they said and some of the, yeah. Steve had, oh yeah. Like, that's who they really are. And then they're out there faking like crazy. So I've had enough. I've had enough of seeing stuff like that. Anyone that has, yeah, this has gone on. Imagine someone trying to like fucking go like this at you with abuse you've been through like that. So Steve, how did that feel to be pinned down by your cousin and literally just have a chunk cut right off your fucking ear? How did that feel, Steve? Did that feel good? And Steve, did that feel good to grow up without a dad? And did that feel good to get bullied as a kid, Steve? There's that. What else? Does it feel good to be really fake, Steve? Does it feel good? Does it feel good to lie about being loving kindness and be just a weak little piece of shit? Does it feel good that he was not impressed that I'm touched by God and Steve's a fake fucking piece of shit and there's black magic around him and had to use that for manifesting be part of America? Oh no, he's a fake fucking piece of shit. I could go right through that book and point out all the fake shit in that guy. I actually do miracles, okay? I'm actually touched by God. Steve is fake. Gabrielle Bernstein, fake piece of shit. Mary Folio, fake piece of shit. She literally had, it literally was a psychic message towards me with a post connected to her was, quote, it wouldn't matter if you killed yourself. That came through from Mary. Okay? That's who she is. That's who she is. Okay? Gab Bernstein, she tried to manipulate 3 of my nieces and nephews spiritually. She also tried to manipulate my mom, and it was around life insurance, about trying to get something said about lowering a life insurance to fuck with my mom. You can double check all of this with the universe, okay? Check if there was revision. Check. Okay? If people knew who they really are, you guys would be like, what? Yes. Okay? And then Gabrielle Bernstein was getting pissed that I was telepathically telling people what she was doing because she didn't want people to know what she was doing. So, can you imagine that? So for Gabrielle Bernstein, it would be like, well, it would be brutal if I said it, but, well, her dad molested her. I know that's, yeah, her dad molested her. Would I have to throw in something about that, about holy fuck, would I have to throw in a shot about that, about her dad's molested? That'd be pretty fucked up, wouldn't it? That'd be really fucked up if I said something about her dad molesting her. Yeah, that'd be really fucked up. It's insane that someone would actually go, oh, wow, you went through all that trauma, narc abuse, all that. Let me try to use that against you. Isn't it? That's who they are. That's what I want all you guys to know. That's who they are. So Universe Source, you're going to make sure everyone knows that's exactly the shit they pulled, because they did, even if there's revision, and make sure it's very known that's what they pulled towards me, because that is who they are. And anyone connected to it that needs to know they literally took part in trying to abuse someone that already was abused by narcissists. So then they tried to use the abuse they went through against them as abuse. There we go.